got about 4 more minutes left in practice here, then we'll get to qualifying. So just want a little bit ahead of time here, welcome you to Green White Checkered TV. Tonight we will be broadcasting the recruiting series here at Auto Club Speedway. So we're for 100 laps. So look forward to joining you all here shortly. Let's say we'll finish practice up, get qualifying underway, and we'll get things going here in just a bit. Alright, practice has just completed here. We're going to jump over to qualifying. So while they do that, we'll go through our point standings here. So we are on race number 10 of 12. We got 2 more after tonight. Right now our points leader, I'd say it's a really close battle here for the top 4 positions. So right now you have Jim Brooks leading by 5 points over James Ledford. Bud Steele in the 3rd position. They're only 9 points out of the lead. Michael Spell in the 4th position, only 10 points out of lead. So those 4 are definitely in close proximity for this for the recruiting series championship. Again, after tonight, only 2 races remain, and then they'll be transitioning over to the 87 series. I say that's definitely going to be one that's going to be a lot of fun. I say rounding out the remainder of the points though. In fifth, you have Paul Patterson. Sixth is Dwight Plush. Seventh, Ryan Kelly. Eighth, Eric Laurie. Ninth, Chad Wilkes, and rounding out the top 10 is Roy Wheeler. Alright, looks like everybody has made their qualifying laps here. So it looks like our pole sitter this evening is going to be that 960 of Eric Schaus. Say just beating Bud Steele by 3/1000ths of a second here at Auto Club Speedway. So I'll say we'll let everything cycle through, jump to the race, and then we'll get our starting grid here just momentarily. Alright, so we're going to go through our starting grid here. So on the pole, that 960 of Eric Schaus will be leading them to the green flag this evening. In the second position there, you have Bud Steele, again, 3/1000ths of a second behind. In the third position, a little bit of a short field at the moment, about 8 to 10 cars here. So definitely gonna let these guys be able to dice out a little bit more. I think they'll definitely allow for some more green flag action, some green flag pit stops as well. Sounds like the fuel window is right around lap 25 or so. So as long as they can make it that far, and they can try to do it here on 3 stops, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. I'll say see what the strategy is for some of these drivers. Some of them might just kind of try to cruise, save fuel in the draft. Others might just want to try to get that clean air and go for it. So I'll say we'll have to wait and see what the plan is going to be here for this evening. And also tomorrow night we will be broadcasting here again at Green White Checker TV for the Cup Series. They will be at Bristol, so it'll be a much different setup than what you see right now with these cars here in California. So a lot of close quarter racing, whereas here you got plenty of room to try to work your car around. Alright, pace car is off. So I'm gonna wait for that green flag to fly here, and it's gonna be the 960 again. Eric Schaus on the pole. Just to his outside there, the 6 of Bud Steele. Green flag is in the air. So they're gonna get going here, get up to speed. And I'll say, and again, there's definitely gonna be some significant drafts with these cars here at Auto Club Speedway. The trick is gonna be to figure out positioning your car where it needs to be at the right time. Because that's going to definitely play a role, and you see right off the bat here that Bud Steele's going to try to take that top side and see if he can get some momentum to get that top side going. See Michael Stahl thought about trying to make the 3 wide, decided to stay in line here. Right now, the inside line right now has definitely the short distance around, a little bit quicker way around as well. So at 960 here, we'll lead the first lap. James Ledford, they're just going to kind of cruise at the moment. They're just going to stay out of the big pack, if you will, and just kind of try to cruise here, probably save some fuel, maybe see if they can even save a little bit of tire here to make it charge here later on in the run, should they be able to get to that point of the race, which again with the short field I definitely think will be much more possible. So it's a lot easier when you have a shorter field to be able to get that kind of clean green flag racing here. Right now you've got the whole field here within a second of each other, even with those 2 lagging back there. So again, you see Bud Steele trying to see these top side, hasn't quite got enough momentum to make it happen. Eric Schaus is going to hang on to lead as they come through 3 and 4 down the front stretch. So it's going to complete lap number 4, complete number 3, put him on lap 4. There's still a long ways to go, so 97 laps remaining here at California at Auto Club Speedway. But again, so keep an eye on things as they go through the fields. So right now it looks like that bottom line is definitely going to be the preferred line, but that 6 car is going to try to do what he can here and see if he can try to get that. Like he's able to get to about the just with, I think with the air and the lack of the draft, it kind of just stalls out here. So this is going to definitely be something they're going to have to plan for the towards the end of the race, and what kind of moves you can make. You see right here, maybe Michael Stahl, he's going to try this third line. He's going to run way up top, see if he can again, the bottom sign's where you're going to want to be. You see right there, though, that 960 Eric Chouse, he's going to move to the top here, looking to go to the inside. So I think Eric might just be doing the same thing. What he can and can't do. Again, and so you probably can find your way up towards the front should you need to. So you guys still going to lead this time by. And now you can see on the inside, you got Charles Johnson on the inside. Looks like he's going to complete that pass. Bud may have been just trying to get a lap level. So it might be some strategy here, just trying to get maybe a bonus point for that lap lead, and then you get back and just kind of go back to cruise mode. And it's also possible maybe they're looking at their fuel numbers. And if you're the first car here leading the way, maybe you don't have the fuel mileage to make it to the end on 3 stops. So definitely a few things to keep in mind here as I go through this race. So there might be a strategy involved in this one. That third place Michael Spell right back up into the mix, and although I think he has a little bit of a challenger here now, and he has the 958 there, Todd Merkel, and so he's going to try to see if he can see what happens in position right now. They stay in position though as they win. And again, Charles Johnson leading Eric Chouse. Behind him is Todd Merkel, Michael Spell, and then right behind him stretching out just a little bit. So that lead group actually goes to his top 2 regions and the rest of the field. You can see right here Charles Johnson running that very, very bottom line. So you have to be careful not to run too low because it gets bumpy here at Auto Club Speedway, especially on the backstretch and even more so at the bottom of the track. So that's going to be something to keep an eye out for, just to not bounce around too badly here. But right now, though, they've actually stretched their lead out to about a second here over Michael Spell in that 3rd position. I think that should still be enough for them to draft back up there when they need to. But a little surprised to see them kind of spread out like they have already at this point in the race. And again, you can see Charles here just running that very, very bottom of the track. The rest of the field looks like they're starting to just kind of rotate. Kind of just try to take it as easy as they can on the tires, let the car drift up to the top, and then kind of arc it back down to the bottom here. In the tri-oval off of 3 and 4, you might as well just run the bottom, shorter way around with these Indy cars. Probably the easier way to do it there, and you can see that right behind him at 960 again, kind of running that arc line, if you will, where he just kind of dives it in, lets it wash out to the top, make sure you get plenty of clean air on the nose. However, this time he's going to drop to that bottom and grab that draft of the race leader here, Charles Johnson. So they've completed 12 of the 100 laps, got 89 to go. So just keeping an eye on the lines and the pace. That last time by, so Michael Spell kind of get a little bit more aggressive here with that car, trying to bring himself back up to the draft. You can see now, so he'll actually hop on board with that car. place car there. Again, now that 958 of Todd Merkel. Fire here from that 76 of Jim Brooks. Jim's going to get around him on the inside. Move him now up into the 3rd position. Points leader entering this race in that 76 car, so we'll see if he's able to make something happen here as well. Maybe try and take care of his tires a little bit so he can make a charge as the run progresses here. But right now, those top 2 are just kind of sneaking there little by little. I'll say it was about, although that, as I say, there looks like Michael Spell went. Yeah, he's missing the right front nose and end plate there on that car. So we'll take a quick look, see what happens. I think that car to the outside of him may have actually just touched the apron there and pushed him up there. We'll see who that was. I think that may have been the 6 of Bud Steele. Let's go back one more time and take a look here. Here's the rest to the bottom. Catches that 88 of Michael Spell, and that kind of puts Michael down to the apron, or into the wall and then down onto the apron. So 88 here is in the pits as I say that, getting service to his car. Up front though, still Charles Johnson leading the way. A lot of times the safety group with Jim Brooks and Todd Merkel are still closing a little bit, maybe about a 10th or so lap. However, the interval is still showing at about 1.3 seconds or so. So these guys are still going to have to work cut out for them to try to get back up to the field here. 88 of Michael Spell was able to get serviced and exited the pits there. He's only 1 lap down at the moment. Got about a half a lap or so on the field as they run here. And however, that last time by the 28, Charles Johnson was actually the fastest car on track. I think these tires are starting to wear a little bit, and that clean air is becoming more important. He ran a 270 to the cars behind him in the 3s and 4s. So he's able to gap him by about a 10th or so that last time by. So right now Charles is doing a really good job of kind of just trying to manage this race here and kind of make them have to chase him down with the way this run is going here. So at 21 we got 80 to go. So there's going to be probably pit stops here shortly, I would say, in the 5 lap or so range. We'll see if anybody was able to save fuel in that beginning of the run when everybody was all kind of bundled together here. But right now, though, that 28 car is leading the way. Again, he may be using up a little more fuel in those around him. We'll see if he can get to that lap 25 mark or not. I think that's going to be the critical point in the race for those guys to be able to make it here on fuel. Keeping an eye on the lap times now, that 3rd place car, Jim Brooks, he's been starting to creep into the picture a little bit. Johnson, I should say, for the lead. He's going to grab that draft. We'll see if he saves fuel here, if he's going to try to jump to the top. Right now it looks like, I think he's actually doing some fuel savings, maybe trying to stretch an extra lap in that tank, because I think that could definitely go a long ways, and with pit stops coming soon, entry and exit's going to be critical for these guys to make sure they get down to the speed, not hit the pit cone on entry, and then also not to spin the tires on exit. And as I said, here comes that 76 Brooks. He gets a huge run there. 3, 1, and 2. He's going to drop to the bottom and grab the draft of Charles Johnson. He might be able to clear that 960 of Eric Schaffner. So, however, he's going to have a lot of dirty air in front of the 76 car, so he's going to be careful not to have to wash up. Looks like he's able to keep it to the bottom. So I think he'll have the shorter way around here through the travel plus the draft of that 28. So move that 76 to Jim Brooks up into the second position as they run right now. So I see the 44 of Dwight Plush is in the pits. He's the first of the lead group here to make the pit stop. So he had to go a little bit sooner than those around him. Maybe he's trying to see if he can take advantage of some fresher tires. But I have a feeling that we're going to start seeing our leaders here in the pits very shortly. As they say that here comes our first taker there, Charles Johnson in the 28. So keep an eye on his pit entry. Looks like he takes it nice and careful. Able to get to the speed, looks like very easily. So now we got the battle here for the lead. It's going to be the 968 back around the 76 Jim Brooks as the start-finish line. So say now we'll see with between these two if either of them can stretch the fuel one more lap than the other. I'm sure these guys are hoping to have a clean issue, not have to worry about the cars around them. However, it looks like they're both going to come in together here. Looks like they do a pretty good job of it. Oh, you see the 76 gets a little loose on the brakes, able to keep it straight though. Looks like the 40 to James Ledford. Oh, he had an incident getting in the pits. So you see also Bud Steele. Looks like he got in okay. And I saw a car with the 48 there. I think that was the 958 of Todd Merkel. Let's go and take a quick look at those pit entries here. So we'll start with the 48. Oh yeah, just on the gets loose, hits the wall hard there. And then a little bit further up there, looks like the 958 may have just overshot it a little bit. Or actually looks like he had to react a little bit to the 6 of Bud Steele. Oh, just too much brake as well, and so instead of having to get back on track, he actually just decided to back it up and get back on track safely that way. So that's going to definitely spread things out here. So we'll jump back to the leaders here. So you see the 76 Jim Brooks just exiting his pit stop right now. Looks like he was able to clear the 960 of Eric Schaus through the pit stops though. And then right now looks like Bud Steele's going to grab onto the draft though of that 76 car with a lot of momentum. I think we'll see Bud here jump, or not Bud, I'm sorry, Charles jump to the top here, try to take that lead away as they go through the trial. But entering the turn one is going to clear him. So they probably come around straight to the bottom. He indeed does however, I think that 960 of Eric Schaus should be just close enough to still grab onto the draft. Of these top two right now, so now it's going to be up to Bud Steele without the help of any draft to see what he can do, see if he can grab back onto the toe of these cars. So again, I'm going to try to keep an eye on the lap times. That last time by though, Eric Schaus, that was his fastest lap of the race and the fastest lap of the race with a 31.770, using that draft to get back up to those race leaders. So right now it looks like Bud's about half a tenth or so slower than the leaders. They ran a 290 to his 34. So he's going to need a little bit more pace out of that 6 car to try to kind of close that gap. But if he's able to manage his tires here later in the run, that could still come into play where he can try to chase them down as they're starting to burn their stuff up, especially with the way the draft and the aero pushes with these cars. Say up front though, we've got a 3 race leader Charles Johnson started third, currently first. Jim Brooks in second, started 8th, and then our pole sitter Eric Schaus right now running in the 3rd position. This is all happening. Let's do a quick through the field here. We'll go. Behind him, 76 car Jim Brooks started 9th. I apologize. Up to second, was able to lead a couple laps there. Ehrkshaus also has led some laps in this race, is so far currently running third. Behind them you have Bud Steele, started second, currently fourth. Keeping on the lap times, actually he's running pretty much lap times right on par with the leaders, so he just might need a little bit more, maybe like a half. If he can get, like, I think within a half second closer, I think he's going to grab the draft of that 960 car, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. And then behind him you have the 44 of Dwight Plush, started 8th, currently 5th in that Blue Angels Indy car. So he's the one that pitted the earliest of the leaders there for scheduled pit stops, so we'll have to see if he's able to stretch it as well to the end. I said, unfortunately, we saw Todd Merkel. He had to back up on the pits when he got on the brakes hard there to hit the pit speed line. Also may have got a little bit thrown off with the 6 of Bud Steele. Not sure, obviously, but when you're pitting with others, you definitely are a little bit more kind of. Behind him, you have the 88 of Michael Spell, who unfortunately, had that contact with Bud Steele, had to come to the pits, get a fast repair early on, so he's going to still need to go have 3 more pit stops, so he's going to need a caution basically to get back into the thick of things here. However, he is still on the lead lap. Right behind him, you have the 48 of James Ledford. I say he's on the normal cycle with the rest of the field for making it to the end here. So right now those 2 are just dropping together. So those are our 8 drivers that are still in the field right now. So we'll jump back over to our race leaders here. Back over to him. Again, you can see kind of the differing strategies between the so you see the 960 and the 76, they're kind of taking wider arcs. Oh, see 76 there touches the apron. You have to be extremely careful of these cars. It's actually pretty impressive he didn't spin out there. These things do not like the transition in banking at all. You can see right there that 960 Ehrkshaus hits that dirty air of that 76 and the 28. Washes him up a bunch up the track there. However, he's back here. Let's say you can see again that 76 taking a wider arc entering turn 3, and gets it right back down to the bottom. And say, however, our race leader though, Charles Johnson, he's going to be running that bottom the whole way around. Just as a leader, obviously not going to start on the see it as they come to 3, you can see it jump to the top, make a really big arc here. And I'm saying what's working really well about that is that way he's only in the dirty air at the very end of the turn. You can see he only moves up about a groove or so. Otherwise, he's pretty much right on that white line. You see he gets a big run there off of turn 4 here. It's going to be the same thing here in turn 1. Makes that late apex, brings it right back to the white line. Is able to kind of exit it pretty good without too much aero wash on that nose of that 76 car. So right now I think these guys are just kind of in full cruise mode right here. I think they're just going to try to take care of their fuel here now, of course. To the rest of the field, I'm sure these 3 right now want it to stay green because they've been able to separate themselves through the rest of the field. saying right now, again, keeping an eye on the lap times here. Charles Johnson's running near identical lap times. He's just so close to get that sniff in the draft that he needs. He just isn't quite able to get it at this point. So his goal, I think, at this point is to keep doing what he's doing, try to keep that gap as close as possible. But then I think he's going to really have to go after just getting a really good pit stop there and try to close the gap that way. Notice that the 88 falling off the pack in front of him a little bit. Looks like car looks okay to me. I'm not sure if something happened to him here or not. Maybe just used up his stuff. However, I think he's getting right towards his pit window here. So he's gone 26 laps right now 27 since his last stop. So probably starting to run pretty low on fuel as well. Maybe just trying to stretch another lap or two out of it to see if maybe he can make it towards our race leaders. Again, back up front, those same I'm just going to kind of keep doing what they're doing here. Again, Charles Johnson's going to just hug this bottom line, probably using a little bit more fuel than those two behind him. Again, however, it looked like he was able to go the distance from first run. As I said, that 88 Michael Spell is in the pits. So he's going to go lap down one more time here. He'll obviously need to cycle through to get back onto the lead lap, but again, he's going to want a caution, but also want it to be a timely caution. He doesn't want to get trapped in that. And so you see, as the tires are wearing, though, that 960 Eric Schaus starting to pick up a little bit of speed here. He's actually kind of forced that 76 to now have to run that bottom line, which is going to start giving him a real push. It's giving that 960 a really big run here on for that 960 of Eric Schaus. He's able to get a big RPC, drop it right to the bottom. Might be able to, he's able to cut underneath that 76 of Jim Brooks. Again, who had to take that shallow entry, made him wash up a little bit. So I'll say now it's going to get him in the draft of our race leader, Charles Johnson, who's going to complete that pass. So we'll see if he's able to maybe make something happen. I'll say this might be use up a little bit more tire here, take advantage of the older tires, make a little charge here, and then that way maybe see if you can cycle to the lead here under the pit stop cycle. About 3 or 4 laps, you're going to see most of the leaders again make a pit stop here. We're on lap 49 of 100, crossing line here for 50 of 100, so we got 51 laps to go. So again, that magic number, if they can get 1 or 2 more laps, I would say 2 more laps to feel comfortable, they can put there and then do one more stop. And looks like Charles is going to stay out here, so he will be able to do exactly that. This is halfway right here at Auto Club Speedway. See at 76, jump to the top side here. It looks like he's going to take a big arc here. So he's carrying a lot of momentum actually that time by around that top side here. Say right now fighting for that second position, actually clears the 960. So that's a really big move there for that 76 car to be able to make that top side work right here. So I think we're going to start seeing pit stops here very shortly. As I said, they stay out this time by. So I'm watching behind them, that 88 of Michael Spell. He's cycled now out behind the 6 of Bud Steele. So Bud's going to have a little bit of drafting help possibly. Maybe that'll help him 44 of Dwight Rush is in for his pit stop. He's 1 lap down as they run. As they say that, I think you're going to see that 28 and Bud Steele. I think he's going to peel off this time. So you can see how he's staggering around. I think that's kind of the plan here. Yeah, here he comes. 28 Charles Johnson going to enter the pits here. Again, he's got to make sure he makes a nice clean entry. Gets a little more aggressive on entry, a little bit loose there. Able to get it down to the pit speed, I believe. So it's going to now put things back into the hands of the 76 and the 960. So we'll see if they have any fuel strategies on their part right now. If maybe one can go a lap further than the other to try to get kind of the same thing, maybe try to charge that pit entry a little bit more aggressively than the driver behind them. Come through, looks like they're going to both stay. Oh, you see the 76 got loose there on the exit. They're going to keep it straight, but these two are going to fight for the lead here. Across the line, pretty much nose cone to nose cone there. As the 28 of Charles Johnson exits the pits, that's going to put him around. So we've got a good battle for the lead between that 76 of Jim Brooks and the 960 of Eric Schaus. Behind them, Bud Steele is still on track as well. So I think with this battle, it's really helping bring him a little bit closer to this fight. So he's going to come through 3 and 4. Looks like the 76 he's going to make his pit entry. You can see he's charging that entry. Tries to make sure he gets it down to speed in time. So that's going to put the 76 of Jim Brooks in the pits. And Bud Steele right behind him as well in the pits. So that's going to give Eric Schaus 1 extra lap of fuel, which could play into the last stop. He'll be able to take a little bit less fuel than those in front of him, and so maybe he could actually jump in front of those guys with that little bit less fuel he'll need to take on the final stop. So I think we'll see him in here. So you can see he's going to drop off the track into the pits. Looks like he's able to get in nice and clean there. So the next thing is going to be to keep an eye on and see where everybody cycles through on the pit stops here. So I'm trying to keep an eye on those guys. Right now Jim Brooks is just on the backstretch here. Behind him you have Charles Johnson. A bit of a gap between the two of them, so I think the in and out lap there for that 76 car is definitely a solid one there. We'll see what the gap is as they come through here. The next car we're going to keep an eye on is that 960. See him leaving the pits right now. There's the 88 of Michael Snell going by. It's going to put him back on the lead lap. Here comes that 76 of Jim Brooks as they come out of the pit, or out of the exit here. It's going to put the 76 back to the lead. So now that goal for this 960 of Eric Schaus is to try to make sure he can grab back onto the ground of that 76 car. Again, these guys are pretty equal at the moment with their distance of each other. Say everybody's each driving about 8/10 of a second or so behind the other. So I think we're going to see some really fast laps right now from the second and third place cars. The last time by Charles ran the fastest lap of the race with a 32.101. So we'll say, and as I say that, he eclipses that now with a 31.64. So he went half a second faster than his previous fastest lap. And then also that the 960 of Eric Schaus, he ran a 31.704. As I say that, he's already up battling to try to get that lead spot away from the 76 of Jim Brooks. He's going to go door there. So he's definitely going to pull in that 28 car. So we're going to still have a 3-car battle, I should say, for the lead here. Say right now we have 42 laps remaining. Again, one more pit stop to go. Right now it's a 3-car battle here for this win. So you see the 28 Charles Johnson still right there. Say now you see Jim in kind of that position where that 28 was earlier. So he's going to go on the bottom side here and try to protect the inside line. And try to make this top side happen. Charles Johnson into that picture. So you're going to bring it a little bit, gets that dirty air, washes up. Let's say that 960, I think Eric saw that happening, moved up to get out of the way to make sure they didn't make contact there. Again, I think at this point, these guys want this to stay green because, again, if they can keep it green here, they can definitely make it just a race between the three of them, of course, pending how the last pit stop goes. I think that's going to be the goal is for some of these drivers is to try to obviously stay just having these people fighting it out for the win, but then, of course, to get the better pit stop of the group. So right now these top three have about a half lap lead, I would say, over the second group of Dwight Push, Bud Steele, Todd Merkel. Say that 958 is not too far away from the so they should be able to get to the draft of each other and be able to bring themselves back up to that 44 of Dwight Plush to bring those three together, so you have kind of two groups of three, if you will, up front. And then James Ledford, he's kind of fallen back. Let's say he's still in the seventh position. Of course, then you have Michael Spell in the 88. Had that damage early, had to make a pit stop, and so he's showing in the 8th position, still in the lead lap, but right now about, I'd say, about 2 or 3 seconds from being lapped. However, these guys are not giving up this fight for the lead. I'm a little surprised how aggressive they're being here. I kind of feel like if that second or third car in line, honestly, what I'd be doing right now is I'd just go full fuel cycle again and try to minimize my last stop and pit, either pit as soon as my window opens, or even look at pitting, just pitting around the normal time, but again, just taking less fuel than those next time. Because if you have to take a full tank of fuel, it takes longer to do than your tires. However, we're going to go 3 wide for the lead. You see Charles Johnson gets his nose ahead as they enter turn, as they enter trial, I should say. So we're going to go 3 by 3 here for the lead. So really close there between the 76 and 28. You saw that 960 went really wide, so he's going to jump back top again. So we're going to go 3 wide again now through the back stretch here. You can see these guys side pod to side pod basically, but saying you see that 960 Eric Schaus, what he's been doing, he takes a really high entry and he gets a really good exit on the off the turns there. So that's what's being able to kind of give him those huge runs, and that's where he again you see him going again from the top side here. Right now, this is a really good battle for the lead with these three here. Let's say Charles Johnson trying to see if he can make that middle groove work. I'll say, but then you see that he gets a huge run on the exit, and he jumps over those guys. So again, you're going to see right here as they go through the tri-oval. So it might be something I'd say, depending on these last pit stops go, if we are able to get to that point, might kind of see how the finish of this race could wind up here with them trying to figure out where they need to position their car when to try to get that run. Because again, it looks like it's really tough to complete the pass on those drivers outside. However, you can get to the side pod of them and make it at least a photo finish there between the two of you. So, or to the 2 or 3 of them, I should say. So. Definitely a lot of potential here for this finale here. Again, still got plenty of time to go. 34 laps remaining here. Pit stops window should open here in just under 10 laps. So we'll see kind of the strategies for some of these guys, if maybe try short pitting, or if they're just going to try to run it as long as they can before they make a pit stop. Definitely a lot of potentials here for how to run the remainder of this race, but. These guys are definitely putting on a show right now for these top 3. Again, I kind of thought they would just ride, but they've done anything but right now. So you can see right there, that 960, he gets a really good run. You can see he gets just about side by side with that 76 car. Again, but just that short distance around, he is able to complete the pass. But when he grabs that draft, he's able to kind of pull right back up to the side pod of him right there at the line. I'll say there's only, I'd say probably 100th or so between the cars, if that. So I'd say I think that's going to be the strategy that he needs to play, is to figure out where he needs to be, where he needs to position his car, to do it. So right now you see he's got the nose just ahead of that 76, and Jim Brooks won't be able to clear him. However, again, he's going to use this big arc here, entering through, and bring it down on the exit. I think that's where then you can just grab a little bit of draft possibly from that 76. Always you see right there, 76 just touches the apron. You have to be careful not to do that too much, or that'll really upset the car there. Right now these guys are having an awesome battle for the lead here. So next time around we will have 30 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway. And again, right now our top three is Jim Brooks, Eric Schaus, and Charles Johnson. 4th through 6th is Bright Plush, Bud Steele, and Todd Merkel. They are all good together as well. Again, about a half a lap behind our leaders here. And then James Ledford and Michael Stell are 7th and 8th, both still on the lead lap. Again, Michael's unfortunately off sequence on his pit stop due to an earlier incident where he had to pit for a flash repair. Again, he's going to need a yellow to try to get back into the thick of things here. He's top 2 here, starting to sneak away. He's lost a little bit from Charles Johnson, so he's going to have to be careful not to lose too much of the draft time. So again, he's still in plenty good space. He's about a half a second or so but I think the thing is, it seems like he was doing really well in the clean air, but it seems like once he got that dirty air, he really hasn't agreed with his car. So he's not going to be able to do what he was when he was controlling the race there. You see right here, a big cut there for the 960, going to drop to the bottom. He's going to then try to take the momentum to the middle here. Again, I think this is where you need to see how close can you get to that car at the start finish line there, because that might be the move you need to make to try to win this race, because again, I feel like that lead car is just going to try to protect that bottom at all costs. It does look like the lap times of that 28 are starting to fall off just a little bit of wiggle there from that 960, able to keep it pointed straight though. You can see though, unfortunately, it looks like Charles Johnson is starting to lose a little bit of touch with these leaders. So I think he may have burned his tires up, but just a little bit too much, having to really chase them down here. So say he can pit here very shortly, I say probably within about 3 or so laps to be completely safe to make it. So that might be a strategy for him to take, is to try to do a short pit early, get those fresh tires, and then have clean air where you won't really abuse him as much here. But again, at the line, 960 just not quite far enough ahead to get the lead at the line there from the 76 of Jim Brooks. But I think at this point, this is all, I think, honestly, just a lot of learning for what you need to do to make it happen here at the end of this race. Definitely putting on the show. I would say again, looks like Charles Johnson a little bit slower. As I said, that Charles Johnson in the pits here. We're gonna have 25 to go, so again, window is definitely open. So Charles is going to be the first of that lead pack to pit here. I think that was a really good call there for him. 44 Dwight Plush is in as well. So while these guys here battle out for the lead here, Charles is going to be trying to get the best pit entry and the first best exit he can here, to try to kind of build a gap on those two and see if he can kind of get that in and out lap that you really need to have. I'm saying right on cue, 76 Jim Brooks, he's going to do the same. Looks like he had a pretty aggressive entry. Looks like he made it in all right though. So now it's going to be up to this 960 of Eric Schaus to do the same. Again, he may have saved a little bit more fuel in those around him. He went that one lap longer the previous time, so we'll have to wait and see. So the next thing we're going to wait and see on is to see where these guys come out in relation to each other. Let's see if he's in this time. He is going to pit this time by 960 Eric Schaus. Looks like a little bit of actually, I think he took it a little too easy, to be honest, on that pit entry. We'll have to wait and see. I'll say right now the 28 of Charles Johnson just went around him to get his lap back. And it looks like, so I'm trying to keep an eye on the intervals here of the 28 and the 76. Here comes the 28. So I don't think he's going to be too far away from that 76 of Jim Brooks as they comes out of the pits. Yeah, there he is right there. So you're definitely going to have these two battling it out for the win here at the end of this race. So now it's all going to be up to that 960 here of Eric Schaus. He's in the pits. Service is done. He's going to get up and out and away. So now can he get a good enough pit exit here to try to hang on to lead group here? Because I see the two leaders. They're not too far away from each other. So as you see right there, there they go. So now he's going to have to hustle this car and try to grab onto the back. They have yet to pit here, so we'll jump over to them for just a moment while this is all happening here. So say there's a 6 Bud Steel leading the way right now. Right behind him is the second place car, Tom Merkel. They should be hitting here very shortly. James Ledford is in as well. So let's keep an eye on them, see if they make their pit stops here. Looks like 958, you can see a big entry there for him. He's going to make his pit stop right now at 6 of Bud Steel, staying out one more time here. So I'm going to keep an eye on our race leaders and the lap times between these guys, because that's going to be the critical thing right now. And that last time by, Eric Schaus was the quickest car on only about a tenth or so of a second, so he's going to need a little bit more. I say we're going to watch, again, I'm going to keep an eye on his lap times here. So I think we're going to see some really fast laps out of him if he can grab onto their toe. I definitely think he is close enough at this point. He ran about a tenth of a second or so quicker than the two leaders. Now the only thing he has to be careful about is not burning his tires too much to just to bring them back into the fight for the lead here. So we talked about Charles Johnson losing the pack before the pit stops. He did everything he needed to there. Got a really good pit stop, able to cycle back through to the front. As I said, that's going to cycle back to Charles Johnson, Jim Brooks, and Eric Schaus here in third. And sure enough, that last lap time by, Eric Schaus ran at 31.7, so about half a second quicker than our leader. So he's right now in that 960 car. Huge head of steam here. So he probably is going to wind up running one of the fastest laps of the race this time by. Just flying here with that draft. And yeah, so it's going to bring him up to third. So yeah, so now we're back to that 3-car fight for the win now. 18 laps remaining. Fuel is not an issue anymore. So he's going to take this momentum, try to jump to the top side, see if he can clear that 28 of Charles Johnson. And 23 isn't going to quite be able to do it. So I say we're going to see this 2 and 3 wide battle for the lead with these guys here at Auto Club Speedway. These three have definitely it's been a blast to watch them. Say, Lynn, I just saw you on here. Say, hope you're doing well. Say, I'm not going to jinx your husband. He's been doing all right. We'll see if he's able to hold on to it to the end. But definitely going to mind how I commentate the rest of this race, because we've seen in-person drivers before saying like, oh, they're doing well, and then things don't go so well. So. However, I say this battle between these top three, I think this is where it's going to come down to. And I think this is going to also be a little bit of strategy play, who makes the move win. Because again, we do have 3 green-white checker finishes if needed here at Area 51 Racing League. However, again, we'll see if we actually wind up needing one or not. What I'm seeing right now is I think the 76 of Jim Brooks, I think he's doing a little bit of strategy here. I think he's going to take care of his tires just a little bit more than those two in front of him. Or maybe he's going to have a little bit better grip at the very end. So he kind of let that 960 go pretty easily there when he got up to them. And so now you can see he's starting to do that big arc 1 and 2 here, and I think he's doing the same with 3 and 4 as well. So I think that's going to be where the fight is. As I say, they're looking like they're going to try to go 3 wide again here through the backstretch. trying to see where to go here. You see the 76 takes a big arcade, quite get underneath that 960 Eric Chow. So I think this is business is definitely starting to pick up between these top three here at Auto Club Speedway. Across the line here, we have 14 laps to go, so still a lot of time. Say it's pretty much, it's almost a half a tank of fuel to go. So there's going to be a lot more tire wear. Say these cars are going to drive a lot worse as the run goes on here. So they got to be careful not to be too aggressive at this point. But as I say that, they're all going to still keep fighting here, going 3 wide here. See the 960 this time was able to get right to the side cut of that 28 of Charles Johnson as they cross the start finish line. Again, I think this is going to be a little bit of where they have to kind of figure out where to try to make that move happen. As you see on the backstretch here, he's able to just get his nose just a tiny bit ahead of that 28 car. And what he's doing here is he's trying to figure out, okay, if I jump down low now and then try to get that run, can I get to his door at the line, or IndyCar door, if you will, to be able to kind of sneak around the, and try to snag that win here. Because again, right now, low line is definitely where he needs to be. And that's what Charles is doing right now, is working that perfectly. But again, I think it's gonna, at this point, it's gonna be a 2 or 3 wide battle for the win here at Auto Club Speedway. So we're gonna come around here with 10 more laps to go. Say at this point, it's really anybody's race. Let's say they've done an awesome job all night. I'm hoping they can keep it green to the end, and say, because they say when you're going this fast with this close quarter race, and even though the track is nice and wide, you definitely want to be in those lower lines. So they're going to start probably squeezing each other a little bit more here and there. So I say I'm hoping that they can kind of keep the fenders, the wing end plates, all those things nice and clean here to the end here. So we'll kind of have to wait and see. But right now, though, these guys are putting on an awesome show. It's been a lot of fun here. So we're at 9 to go this time by. Oh, you see right there, 28 and 960 almost touched there through the tri-oval. So that's what they're gonna have to be careful about there. And I'll say at some point too, that 76 is Jim Brooks. He's gonna need to figure out what he needs to do to try to see if he can put himself in the prime position. So right now, I would say the preferred line between these two is gonna be between Charles Johnson and the 960 Eric Schaus. He says that third line there isn't enough momentum to make it happen here. By the time you get to the start finish, he's gonna have to try to find a way to kind of, I think, undercut that 960. Oh, can't quite do it though. But he needs to try to find a way to get to the outside, I think, or the inside, I should say, of the 960 and be that lead car here fighting for that bottom spot. Oh man, that was close. I'd say that was probably thousandths of a second between the two there. However, that was not the white flag lap. There is still 7 laps to go. So again, I think these guys are really just kind of measuring the competition here, trying to kind of master exactly when and where to make these moves. I'm sure Charles also is trying to think what he can do a little bit differently defensively to help his own chances as well. I'll say the thing is though, if Eric worries too much about Charles, you still got to remember he's got that 76 Jim Brooks right behind him. So a lot can still happen there. Again, at the line, so you can see the 28 there just nosed him at the line there. But again, so say 6 to go this time. By next time around, we're going to have 5 laps remaining here at Speedway. We've gone caution-free thus far in this race, but these top 3 have been the ones in control of this race pretty much since the first pit stop. You can see this time by that Jim Brooks able to get to the top there. Again, can't quite do anything with it, but so this is where he needs to try to find a way to see if he can kind of be a little bit of a spoiler here and get So the other thing that could throw a wrench into all of this is they're starting to catch that 28. Oh, you see it going as low as possible. Protect the bottom and maybe try to see if he can get up to that second car. They're starting to catch that 88 of Michael Spell and the James, or no, sorry, not the 48 James Lifford, but the 88 of Michael Spell here. And so, oh no, I'm sorry, it is 48 James Lifford. I keep looking at two groups of cars. So they're starting to catch that 48 car. So they might start picking up his draft, and so that could actually start affecting the way even our race leader, Charles Johnson, again, he's had the clean air on this car all race. So as soon as he starts picking up the toe of that 48 car, it's going to start washing up a little bit worse than it was. So that's something he's going to have to be careful for here. You can see again that 960 trying to make the top line happen. However, this time that 76 of Jim Brooks is able to get underneath him here. He's going to have the draft. So we have 3 laps to go. So 76 now up into the second position. Let's see what he's able to do here. Let's see Charles Johnson, a big push there on exit. Oh, as he said, and so did the 76 Jim Brooks. I think he may have caught the wall there. So we'll have to take a quick look at his car real fast. Can't quite tell if he made contact. However, to our leaders here, so unfortunately that's going to put him out of the running for this win. We're going to come around here with 2 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway. So I think they may have caught in that draft of the 48 James Lifford. I think they made both those cars push just really badly there. So now it's going to be a race here as they come through turns 1 and 2 on the backstretch. It's going to be between that 960 of Eric Schaus and the 28 of Charles Johnson. Actually, Eric's able to clear him here. So now we're going to see if Charles is able to make another try after him or not. So we're going to get the white flag. It looks like the tires may just be starting to give up on that 28 car here of Charles Johnson. Let's say you see the 80 Michael Spells in the pits. Couldn't quite stretch it enough on field, unfortunately. And they're also coming up on a little bit of lap traffic. So again, that of these cars. As I say that, Michael Spell, or sorry, Charles Johnson gets a big push. Oh, he's got damage here. He's trying to keep it straight. The bumps here are so bad on the inside here. So it looks like he's able to keep it pointed straight though. However, off of turn 4, it's going to be the 960 Eric Schaus is going to be able to pull off the win here at Auto Club. Looks like Charles Johnson is going to be able to hang on to the second place finish. He did definitely get some wall damage there, but was able to keep it straight and get in second spot. Jim Brooks is going to bring it home third. I say, unfortunately, I kind of feel like they may have caught just a little bit of dirty air there at the very, very end. And I think that's really what affected those cars there. It just looked like they kind of just went straight, honestly. So pretty wild finish there at the end. Let's say kind of expected 3-wide finish, but the tires and everything just fell off these guys completely at the very end for the race here. So but man, that was an intense racing between the 3 of us. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a not very happy Jim and Charles here. Let's say, however, I'm still gonna have to have a chat with them and talk about that race, and we'll see if also we can have a chat with there he is. Good. All right, so we're going to start with our 3rd place finisher, that number 76 of Jim Brooks. So grab him over here. Man, that was a wild battle between you and Charles and Eric there. At the end, was it just did the tires just give up at the end? As I saw you and Charles both that same turn, just like almost those cars just went straight there.
Yeah, I wasn't used to being where I was at right there, tight behind both of them on that one move I made, and that's what pushed me up into the wall. I was doing pretty good on the last 2 times. Now and at the end when the tires got bad, I was able to catch them the one time, and then I don't know how Charles got out of the pits so quickly after me, but I guess he didn't take either tires or not full fuel.
Yeah, and I was kind of commenting. It looked like he had fallen off of you and Eric there coming to that last pit stop, and so I was commenting he was going to need to have a really good pit stop to be able to try to get back up to you guys. And he said he short pitted by maybe a lap or 2, and then he did exactly that. That way it was a 3-car battle there at the end. A lot of fun to watch. As it was pretty exciting there between the 3 of you, figuring out who's. Seemed like you guys are kind of just at the end, kind of jockeying to see where you needed to position your car if you're going to try to get around Charles at that point, just with the kind of get that momentum off of 4 and try to get to his outside and maybe nose ahead right at the line.
Yeah, sorry, I'm muting these noisemakers. Yeah, no, it was fun. I mean, I thought I had it with the pit stops and everything, but it's just they can draft up on you from over a second back, so that didn't help.
Well, so either way, you guys put on a really awesome show. It's a lot of fun to watch. They're able to go caution free, of course, which is, so I'm sure you guys enjoy that. On the admin side, it'll make your work a little easier tonight. But yeah, so say before I let you go, let you get any thanks and shouts for getting that third place tonight.
Yeah, that was just fun. That was good, and we got to let people know we have another season coming up pretty soon. So they should, they want to get in on all this fun. They just got to join the area.
Now, congrats again on the third place finish. I know not quite what you were hoping for, but it's still a lot of fun to watch. So congrats again. Look forward to chatting with you again soon.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. Bye.
All right, we're going to pull up our second place finisher now, that number 28 of Charles Johnson. Kind of the same thing there, made a really good run to the end, just got a little bit, maybe a little bit too tight at the very end. However, really good pit stop. I was kind of commenting you needed to make sure you had a really good pit stop at the end to kind of rejoin that battle for the lead, and you did exactly that. But it looks like, I don't know if the tires fell off at the very end, or did you start getting into the draft of that car in front of you, and that's when we started making you push, or so I couldn't quite see from where I was what may have affected those last couple laps, but you and Jim and Eric, just you guys put on an awesome show. It was a lot of fun to watch.
We appreciate that. No, I think it was one of two things there. One, I was getting in the draft of the lap cars, and second, Eric got a good run on me and just rammed me in the rear end. And I don't know if he shoved my rear wing up in the air, but I had no front end grip after that. So he blew by me after that.
Oh, I must have missed that one. I'll have to go back and try to take a look. But yeah, I mean, you three, you definitely put on a really good battle there at the end. Did you have any pit strategy on that last stop? Was it maybe either a little bit less fuel, or even maybe looking at no tires, or was it just you were able to really get a good entry and exit there under the green flag cycle?
Yeah, I was really focused on being really aggressive on pit entry there, and then just flooring it coming out of the pit. So I tried to be as aggressive as I could, and then the other part of it was I ran on the second pit stop. I ran high to try to let fourth gear max out faster. That time I just stayed low, and I think that helped a lot as well. I was able to get more speed by just staying around the white line.
Yeah, so you definitely you did a really good job controlling that race. Like I said, it's unfortunate, obviously, the way it turned out at the end. However, still be able to bring it home in the second spot. I say caught Lynn on the chat. Say always nice to see her on here as well. So say definitely want to give you an opportunity for some thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that second place finish tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone coming out watching, and certainly appreciate Lynn coming out and rooting for me. And enjoyed it. Really good race. I wish we'd have had more competitors, but at the end of the day, I think we had a real good race there.
No, it was a lot of fun to watch. I say sometimes more isn't always better. Of course, you want to get a few more guys in there if you can. I say again, you have the next season coming up very shortly, so I say I'm sure those 87 cars are gonna definitely bring some interest in there. So yeah, so it'll be a lot of fun to see you guys wheel those things on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, well, good run again, Charles. Say look forward to hopefully chatting with you again soon.
All right, my friend.
All right, now we're going to chat with our race winner here, the 960 of Eric Schaus. Say it was pretty much between you and Charles and Jim at the end. So you guys put on a whale of a show. It was a lot of fun seeing you guys dice it out there. Saying just, I don't know, maybe were you trying to save your tires maybe a little bit more than they were at the very end? As it say, both of them just got super tight at the very end of that race. Those last 2 laps or so. It's like I was kind of expecting to see a 2 or 3 wide finish there at the end, but you were able to keep that car going well.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised to see how much their tires fell off there at the end. My whole goal for the last probably 40 laps was just trying to figure out how to be sitting in second and make that run for the checkered flag there at the end. So I was just trying to find the right line to do that. And then fortunately on lap 98 or 99, whichever one it was, whoever was in first in front of me had a bad run out of the corner, and it just gave me the lead. So from there, it was just smooth sailing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I had a feeling you were doing. Is I saw the way you were kind of arcing in through and off of 4 there and try to grab his draft and then jump back to the middle line. I kind of had a feeling you were trying to see how to make it happen. Obviously, didn't go to plan on that sense. You're still able to get the win, of course, but so you didn't get to use the moves you were practicing, which I'm sure you're super distraught about. But yeah, that was some great racing though between the three of you there.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun there. A win is a win, however I get it. So I'm happy with that. I felt like I had the pace. It was just a matter of strategy. So it happened to work out well that time.
Yeah, I was saying, of course, having to get through all those green flag pit stops, making sure you stayed with them there as well. I say that's obviously a critical part of it. I say, was there any concern you had during that green flag cycles that you had? So I think you had 3 green flag pit stops, right?
Yeah, my whole goal was just to make sure I didn't make a mistake. I was fine not coming in as quickly as possible as long as I didn't spin it going in. I mean, that's what happened. The first race I did a couple weeks ago, I was leading and I spun it going into the pits. So just didn't want to repeat that. So my whole goal was just take it slow, take it easy. As long as I stayed within the draft of those guys as I was coming out of the pit, I was fine. So
Yeah, so the draft definitely played a big role there. You could see how much you could gain there from it. I'll say, and you did an awesome job on doing that all night. I'll say, before I let you go, definitely want to make sure I give you an opportunity for some thanks and shots you'd like to give for pulling off the win this evening.
sure, yeah. Thanks to the Area 51 League. Thanks to you for commentating. It's always a lot of fun to go back through and watch these again. Thanks for all the guys that were racing and everybody else out there. I appreciate it.
So congrats again on the win this evening. So our race winner there, Eric Schaus, in that 960 car, able to pull off the win here. So I definitely look forward to chatting with you again soon. As I'm sure you'll be looking forward to see what that 2-digit number will get at some point soon, hopefully for you as well.
Yeah, definitely. I've got to go onto the Facebook page and find one and then send it off to Bud. So I should have one by the next race.
Sounds good. Congrats again on the win, Eric.
Thanks. Have a good one.
All right, so that is our race winner, the 960 of Eric Schaus. Again, intense battle there between himself and Jim Brooks and Charles Johnson. So before we go, though, let's definitely do a rundown of our race results. Let's say it'll be a pretty... So we'll pull those up real quick. So again, our race winner there, Eric Schaus, was in the battle all race long with Charles Johnson, Jim Brooks. Unfortunately, both those drivers just didn't have the result they want to say. It seemed like the tires either just fell off or maybe just got really bad aero push at the end. Those 3 though were in the thick of it all race long. Coming home in 4th was Bud Steele in the 6 car. Rounding out the top 5 was Dwight Plesh, and then from 6th through 8th was James Ledford, Todd Merkel, and Michael Spell. Again, Michael, unfortunately, involved in an earlier incident, had to then basically get a fast repair done, and then was off cycle, so wasn't able to get back into the thick of things. And then Donald Stewart and Ted Deckard round out the top 10 for this evening. So that will do it for me this evening with Green White Checkered TV with the Area 51 Racing League recruiting series with the Indy cars here at Auto Club Speedway. Again, our race winner here was the 960 of Eric Schaus. Had an awesome battle there with Charles Johnson, Jim Brooks. He was able to pull it out at the end. Tomorrow night we will have the Cup Series at Bristol. So we're going to be going from a nice wide big track to the complete opposite. Still high banks, but it's a really narrow track, pretty much a one groove track. So hopefully tempers won't flare too much there, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch as well. So until tomorrow night, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Remember to try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and take care. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Good night.